virtual Rainbow Summit. My name is Paul LaChapelle. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a professor of political science at Montana State University. We want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we are so excited to be live streaming and recording our third annual virtual Rainbow Summit. Before we move any further, we'd like to first take a moment for a land acknowledgement. We would like to note that land acknowledgements should be more than words. Land acknowledgements must be part of a greater scope of work that starts with relationships with Indigenous communities. And while we aspire towards this, we understand that our summit has not yet fostered those deep connections to our Indigenous neighbors. The work is ongoing, and we welcome suggestions as to how we can continue to build these relationships in the future. We offer that the Virtual Rainbow Summit planning team collectively acknowledges the land on which we reside in the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of many Indigenous people and nations. We recognize that this includes nations that have been granted federally recognized status, those that have not, historical communities throughout the country, those who live here now, and those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. A land acknowledgement is a declaration of responsibility to the diverse community of Indigenous nations and people throughout the United States, and we seek to deepen these relationships moving forward. Thank you. Now, for those of you who have been following our Rainbow Summit over the years, you know that back in early 2020, a small group of concerned educators at Montana State University, in collaboration with the Western Rural Development Center, we came together to offer an LGBTQ plus opportunity for young people in order to network and to learn and learn and have a whole lot of fun with their peers and allies and knowledgeable and caring adults. But like every other plan at that time, the arrival of COVID-19 influenced the event, because the originally envisioned one-day face-to-face event that we called Rainbows Over the Rockies for young people in Montana, it became a 3-day virtual event with hundreds of participants and dozens of presenters from throughout the United States. We continued again in 2021 with the intention of promoting the event as a national summit. And the virtual Rainbow Summit again occurred with hundreds of participants and dozens of presenters from throughout the United States. And at both of these summits, we offered the Youth Leadership and Action Awards for those youth who want to take on leadership roles to increase LGBTQ plus inclusivity in their communities, or in their schools, or in their friends groups. And between those two summits in 2020 and 2021, $16,400 was awarded to 30 individuals and organizations for their grassroots LGBTQ plus education and advocacy efforts. And we're so thankful to the many sponsors over the years for their support, not only of our summit, but through financial support of the youth who were taking part in their leadership roles in promoting LGBTQ plus education, inclusivity, and advocacy all across the United States. So now, under the leadership of the 4-H Program Leaders Working Group, we bring you the third annual Virtual Rainbow Summit. We are so excited again to be bringing you these opportunities for learning and networking and sharing to the hundreds of registered summit participants this year. And of course, through the recordings of the presentations for those of you who can't join us live. So before we introduce the planning team members, I'd like to start by introducing Jen McIver, who is the Vice President for Extension Engagement at the National 4-H Council. Jen leads an organization-wide approach to building effective relationships with and delivering value to Cooperative Extension's 4-H program through council initiatives. Jen, we are so thankful for the National 4-H Council's support and involvement in this year's virtual Rainbow Summit. We'd love to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Well, thanks so much, Paul. I am so happy and so humbled to be here today. I'd like to start by thanking Joe Rand for the invitation to join you, as well as the entire summit planning team, your sponsors, speakers, and panelists for their time and hard work. I know that putting on an event like this is no easy feat. And if I can be totally straight with you, I am just personally a little relieved that I don't have to speak after Mercury Stardust, the trans handyman, because I have a feeling that she's going to be a very tough act to follow. As 4-H's nonprofit partner, National 4-H Council's mission is to expand opportunities for all of America's youth through increased investment and participation in 4-H positive youth development. So I bring you greetings today on behalf of our president and CEO, Jennifer Sarangelo, our almost 200 council associates throughout the country, and the board of trustees that governs our work. We see you and we celebrate you. At National 4-H Council, there are really 3 ways we deliver on that mission and support Cooperative Extension's 4-H Youth Development Program. I want to talk about some of those and the intersects with the important work that you do. First, Council convenes the 4-H movement as we look to grow and reach more youth in ways that reflect the diversity of America. Diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging have to be more than words to be effective in addressing the widening opportunity gap affecting young people. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here. We know that a lack of access to positive relationships, the sense of belonging that young people need to thrive through challenge, the lack of access is negatively affecting them in so many ways, including the teen mental health crisis that accompanies loneliness, depression, and anxiety. We also know 4-H can be an important part of the solution. Right now, over 200 4-H professionals are attending the 4-H PYD Virtual Academy, where they're learning new strategies and best practices to ensure that our 4-H camp experiences reflect our positive youth development principles and create safe, inclusive spaces where campers can thrive. Later this July, 4-H teens and their adult mentors will come to Washington, D.C. for the True Leaders in Equity Institute, where they'll work together to explore their views on equity and inclusion, develop plans to spark innovative solutions, and return to their communities inspired to make change. I had the privilege of attending last year's True Leaders Equity and Institute, and I think we're also going to have a little bit of fun along the way. Experiences like these would not be possible without the commitment and investment of not only our extension stakeholders and subject matter experts, but the financial support of public and private sector donors. Growing the PYD capital to create even more opportunities for all kids through 4-H is another way that Council serves extension. In plain speak, friends, we're talking about fundraising. And whether those dollars are reaching you locally through grant programs like 4-H Tech Change Makers or Health Rocks, cause partnerships like the Tractor Supply Paper Clover campaign, which is in stores right now, by the way, or new innovations like Clover, our e-learning platform, which brings the power of 4-H positive youth development to kids and communities anywhere, anytime. They're all examples of how we grow the resources that let us grow together. The place, though, where I really want to pause for a beat today is the third way that Council supports extension. And that's by telling a more powerful 4-H story and empowering you locally to do the same. That's happening through things like our Youth in Action program, which amplifies the diverse stories and leadership of 4-Hers who are making a difference in their communities every single day. That includes LBTGQ plus teen leaders and champions like Washington 4-H alum Maida Zeglo, a founding member of the Washington State 4-H Equity and Inclusion Task Force, or Minnesota 4-H alum Nicole Cash, who used her 4-H and robotics experience to create mobility devices for kids in need. I know you'll be hearing from Nicole and a panel of our Youth in Action winners later this weekend, so I am going to let their powerful stories speak for themselves. Our new What I Wish You Knew video series, which you can check out on YouTube, celebrates the real moments of joy and struggle that help us define who we really are. I will type the link for that in the chat pod at the end of my remarks, and I especially hope that if you're a teen joining us today, you'll take a moment to learn more and to share your story with us. We also know Pride Month is right around the corner, and it will be commemorating the month again by celebrating the individuality and inclusion and highlighting LGBTQ plus youth and alumni stories of inclusion and support through our This is 4-H social media promotion. And of course, there's always Shop 4-H merch. I'm sharing all of this with you today, not as one big commercial plug for National 4-H Council, but because your stories, your voices, you matter. You are such a very important part of 4-H, and it is our privilege at National 4-H Council to share and celebrate that diversity and to give you a platform for using and sharing your gifts and your voice. If you remember nothing else at all I say today, I hope that you will remember that and take that to heart. I know that it can be hard and even scary, especially when you're confronted with stories to the contrary. In our 4-H pledge, we pledge our head to clearer thinking, our hearts to greater loyalty, our hands to larger service, and our health to better living for our clubs, our communities, our countries, and our country and our world. And sometimes I think it's that heart work, the standing strong in our personal values, maintaining a positive sense of self, showing concerns for others, collaborating, focusing on communicating. That heart work can often be the hardest, or at least sometimes for me, I know it is. So I hope you'll treat this summit as an opportunity for renewal and reinvigoration so that your heart work, whatever that looks like, can continue. You know, so often the big changes we want to see in the world start with really small steps. So I also want to encourage you to use this time to cultivate one new skill or insight that you can bring back to your work as change agents. I also want to encourage you to use this time to build and grow your network of support. Make a new friend, add a new resource to your toolbox, be an ally, because none of us can do this work alone. What I really want to say, though, is simply thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being exactly who you are. I hope you have an amazing summit. And again, so honored to spend this time with you today. Paul, back to you.
Jen, thank you so much. Words can't express how grateful we are for the support of the National 4-H Council and, of course, for your involvement today and throughout the summit. Well, with that, it is my pleasure to start to introduce our planning team members. First, we will hear from Danny Davalos, who is taking the lead on our virtual summit planning team. So, Danny, take it away.
Thank you so much, Paul. Hey, everybody. My name is Danny Davalos. My pronouns are they, them, she, her. I am going to talk you through the agenda, some cool announcements that are going to be popping up. So feel free, if you have any questions, the chat still works. We're still available. And we'll be talking about our platform, which is Discord. I know we'll be a lot of, with all the technology that's kind of being presented, it could be a little scary, but we're going to guide you through that through our presentation today. And we'll make sure that you have at least enough tools to kind of get started on what you're doing. So just a quick heads up, you should be seeing links on the chat as I'm speaking as well. We have an agenda for those of us who prefer kind of a PDF. I have my own printed copy. It doesn't link, unfortunately, because we're not at that point where technology can link on papers and go straight to our computers, but we'll get there one day. I swear we will. Next part is it. So for the agenda, if you click the link provided to us on the chat, you'll see a bunch of like blue lines with blue text. That's going to send you, if you click those lines, they'll send you over to the Zoom room. And that's where you can kind of get on. We are Eastern time on the agenda, so you can do the math in your head. We are also kind of like trying to struggle to kind of figure that macro to make it work. But it really, really has to be done just the good old way, just doing that subtraction of numbers or addition of numbers, depending on where you are in the world. The next part that I would like to also talk about with the agenda is we have a little bit of information on about the presenters. You can scroll all the way down. But if you have more questions about what is the presentation about, I'm curious about what it might be, Discord's going to be your best tool for that. It will give you more description. And also Discord will give us an opportunity for you to connect with the speaker after the conversation, before the conversation. And the speaker will also present slides and all the fun stuff that they have available for you as well. Moving over to the next the next piece, we want to highlight our two keynote speakers today. That's right, two of them, not just one. We have one at 1 p.m. Eastern time with Dr. Ellen Rodriguez, the director of the LGBTQ Center out in West Virginia University, and 7 p.m. Eastern time, we have Dr. Amy Bonomi, founder of this and CEO of the Social Justice Associates Group, and a consultant for the United States Department of Justice. That's what it is. I'm super excited about these invites. They're going to be amazing presenters, and if I would really invite you all to stay up to the end of this hour and just smoothly transitioned into the next speech as Dr. Ellen Rodriguez speaks. Next piece, if you are a 4-H professional, currently we have a group of individuals who are conducting research on 4-H professionals and their knowledge of LGBTQ. So the purpose of this study is to examine the knowledge, skills, and dispositions of 4-H professionals as they relate to LGBTQ plus youth, with the ultimate aim of better serving LGBTQ youth through the development of resources, capacity building workshops, and recommendations for professional development within 4-H. Not all of you are 4-H members, and that's absolutely perfectly fine. This is not exclusively 4-H. This whole conference is open to everybody, but we do know that a good percentage of the individuals who are invited as well was promoted through 4-H. So if you are a 4-H member, please take a moment to consider this. Your input is very valuable to this research, and it'll help us create better programs for the future for this community. Next one, if you are curious, like, what is this conference and what are people talking about? What's happening in this world? We want to acknowledge, or we want to invite you to go to our website, which is just virtualrainbowsummit.org. We have our leadership awards. We have video recordings of the past 2 years that we've recorded. We have LGBTQ resources, and this is all kind of in flux. Things will be updated. Things will change over time. Paul announced kind of a changing of handling, so we do still kind of have an old logo, and it's kind of mixing and merging and kind of getting updated with the new one, as well as our schedule and our summit information there as well. It'll link you over to a document, so that same document that I've been talking about that is also on the chat right now will also give you the access there too. And the next part is, if you're interested in these savvy, cool backgrounds that we have, ooh, shiny. If you're interested in these backgrounds and you want to put them on your Zoom and you want to show a little bit of pride, you're welcome to click that link, choose your pronouns, and go ahead and put them onto your background via Zoom. In our Discord, we have a resource video where you can kind of learn how to do that transfer. It's a pretty quick one once you get a little bit more familiar with it. But once you have it, you can now use it for different slides if you haven't done it before, and or backgrounds, and you can also use that information for just kind of showing some pride about what you're doing this weekend. So again, the Virtual Rainbow Summit background available. If you have any pronouns that are not listed on that drive, new pronouns are popping up every time. Neo pronouns are a thing. So we want to make sure that if you have any issues there, if you don't have what you feel represents you best, go on the resource page or into the help desk and say, I would like one that says this, and that, and we'll make our best efforts to kind of make your background so you can have that one as well. Moving on, this Saturday is the final day of our conference. If you're standing next to your screen just lit up, and that's great because that's the whole point. So this Saturday, we want to show your pride. So if you are on the conference with us, please go ahead and wear some sort of swag, some rainbows, flags, inclusive symbols. We want to see all kinds of colors and all kinds of peoples represented through this Saturday event. So this will be the day that most families will be. We'll have a lot of youth showing up as well. Right now, we're professionals. A lot of kids are in school, so we want to make sure that we honor that moment to celebrate the last day of this conference, but also just kind of a moment of solidarity for anybody who's interested. If you're an ally, if you're just a family member, you can still wear a little bit of pride swag. Whatever it looks like, that we invite you to do so. All right, so the next piece is, I did mention a little bit of Discord, and there will be more information on that, but There is currently a chat going on, a link going to the chat, also talking about Discord. So Discord is it's kind of considered like a social media platform, but also sort of like an old school forum. So the way it looks like is you just have like categories and you can just kind of type things in. And as you type things in, everybody else gets to see it. You can react to certain things. You can put links in there. It's a great way to kind of keep community up even after the conference. If you're like, I'm a busy professional and I don't have time for all the bloops and that will come up in the background, there's also a guide for how to mute the notifications. And you also have it customized as you kind of log in to only the sessions that you're interested in. And once you're just kind of like, okay, I'm done listening, you can leave the channel or mute the channel, however you want to do. We'll have more information on that. Anna will be presenting on that. So it's not my role to do that. My role right now is actually to introduce our next speaker. Molly, come on in.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name's Molly Toppy. My pronouns are she, her, and I work for West Virginia University. I'm an 4-H extension agent in Wetzel County. And I've had the great pleasure of working with this planning team. So I'm so excited now that everybody else gets to meet them. So as Paul mentioned, this summit has quite a good history to it. And we wanted to go over the mission and vision for you. So the mission of the summit started as standing for LGBTQ plus youth, their families, professionals, and allies by providing resources and network opportunities to benefit the physical, mental, emotional, and social health and wellness of all members of the LGBTQ plus community. Our vision for this event moving forward is to create a community that is educated and supportive in addressing the changing needs of our LGBTQ plus youth and their families. So along with this conference, we wanted to go over our expectations throughout the summit. As you join the Discord community, you'll see these community agreements right at the top of your page. So this is what we are all agreeing to as a community going through our conference, both on Discord, where you'll see it, as well as in the Zoom space. And it is being live streamed to YouTube, so we are agreeing to it as well in that space. First and foremost, we want to keep it civil. We're sharing our space with many people, so we're not going to tolerate name calling, trolling, or any harmful behavior throughout the weekend. Most importantly, we're here to learn. We're all going to take information back with us. We want to assume positive intent and that people are open to learning. We're not going to shame other people for not knowing or not understanding. We're here to take those opportunities and to learn and to grow from them. And just to remember that it's normal to feel uncomfortable when you're learning something new. So not to shy away from it. It's a normal feeling, even though it may not be the best feeling. It's okay that you may be feeling uncomfortable. As a reminder, especially as the weekend progresses, this is an all-age space. We're excited to have youth joining us for this conference. So there will be minors participating. Please keep that in mind, both in this space and on Discord when discussing difficult topics. Respect everybody's privacy, especially minors, by not reposting content without getting permission from the original commenter or the original poster. And finally, as Jen so eloquently talked about earlier, this is a 4-H youth development space, and we are using the values of 4-H moving forward. So we are ensuring access and equity for all who participate, knowing that the public universities throughout the country are leading examples of that. We are caring and trusted adult mentors who cultivate positive relationships with the youth we work with. And we want to create safe, diverse, and inclusive environments for all by meeting young people where they are. Anna has put in the chat that information connected back to 4-H. So thank you for joining us. And if you're not familiar with 4-H, as we know some folks aren't, I encourage you to take a look at that page and read over the values of the 4-H organization. So now we're going to move on to Anna, our technologist extraordinaire.
Well, my name is Anna Eldon Brady. My pronouns are Zer and Zers. I am your Discord wizard for the day, and I'm also doing a number of background bits and bobbles to make sure that our live streaming and whatnot come off hopefully flawlessly, but we know that's probably not going to happen because this is the internet. So you see on your screen here an image of Discord. Sort of when you land on this page, you'll be given several options. It'll walk you through kind of setting up your Discord experience, including which sessions that you want to join. When you click on things, it helps with accessing channels and what you're going to see on your Discord screen. A channel is those little things with a hashtag next to them all along the left-hand side of that screen. Those are basically your message boards for each individual session. So you click on one of those and it will take you to, say, if you click on resource share, it'll take you to a channel where we're all talking about resources and what we want to share there. If you click on the one with community agreements, you'll see those community agreements that Molly just read off to us laid out in a numbered list with a little more detail. So there's quite a bit there that you can find. There are sections there, channels there for each individual keynote, for each individual session today. Our presenters are encouraged to drop information, links, whatever, into those various channels. Y'all can go there to continue conversations after those sessions as well, because as much as we love seeing an active Zoom chat, that all poof disappears the minute that Zoom is gone. So if you have a fantastic idea you want to share with your fellow attendees, hop on over to the Discord, drop it in the channel for that particular session, and boom, it's there for later. Everybody can talk about it afterwards. And cool thing, this Discord's not going away after the end of the conference. It'll still be up. So if in a month something's still resonating with you that you heard here today and you're like, I wonder if anybody else is still thinking on this, hop on back over, start a conversation. And I know at least Danny and I, because we're on Discord often, will be in there to have a conversation with you. And I bet there are quite a few others who will be hanging around later too, because this is a really cool little platform. There's a reason right now that it's popular with folks of all ages. Young folk right now are building their communities, particularly inclusive queer communities on Discord. There's a lot of gamers on there who have been using it for years. And there are folks like me who have been there playing Dungeons and Dragons on it. So, you know, it's a diverse community for a lot of different sorts of folks. And I'm sure you can find some friends there to talk to. So it's a little bit about Discord and how we navigate it. If this is all confusing and you're like, oh my gosh, not another platform, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, please help. We do have 2 doc files that walk you through some of the basics of the platform. I've dropped those links in the chat. What they have in them is how to change your Discord nickname once you're on there, how to navigate it a little bit, how to silence some notifications, because if everybody gets real active on there, it can get a little noisy, and just some basic functionality. If you hop on there, you're completely lost, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I really want to try, pop into that help desk channel that you can see there. There'll be a few of us on all day, in and out, and someone can most definitely help you out to get started on Discord. But it is more like an old school chat board than like the traditional social media that you're used to today. It's not going to be like TikTok. So yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had on this channel. So there's kind of a quick overview of why we're using Discord and how we're using Discord. When it comes to Zoom, all of our links to Zoom are either in the agenda that was already shared and can be found in linked to through some of the emails that you've been getting the last few days. Or say you're on Discord and you're like, oh crap, I don't know where that email is. I need to get to the link quick. You click on the channel. So you can see down there, we got the keynote conversation list. Say you click on one of those keynote ones, and up at the top, there's going to be a description. And what that has there is a blue link in it. And that blue link will have the link directly to Zoom. I see a note here in the chat of posting a link to the live YouTube. The YouTube live is actually, it's not showing up as a public video yet. That is actually currently an unlisted video because we realize we're probably going to have to tweak some captions and do a few other things on there to make it truly accessible. And this is also our first time live streaming on YouTube, so we're pretty sure we're going to mess it up at some point. While we are doing our best, that's not available right now. If there's an access issue and you might need to have that, get in touch with one of us and we will try to figure out how to make that work. Because yeah, we're new to this whole streaming on YouTube thing. But yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to access this, a lot of different ways to find your links. Our upcoming keynote, Ellen Rodriguez will be in this same Zoom room. So you're welcome to just hang out here as we wrap this up. But this will be your link. And again, that can be found both on the program, and if you go down there and click Keynote Ellen Rodriguez on your Discord channel, you'll be able to find the link in there as well as speaker biographies and session summary. So you'll get kind of a sneak peek at what's coming if you go over there as well. So that's just some cool ways that we're using that platform again. So I don't think there's anything really that I have missed. But if any of y'all on my planning team are like, hey, Anna, you forgot the thing, holler, you know that I'm good for it. Otherwise, I want to kind of do a sending forth, a little benediction here. We have about a half an hour-ish before Ellen takes center stage in this space. So that gives y'all time to hop on over to Discord and to explore the platform, do some networking, see what's over there, chat it up, and make some new friends. Back at the top of the hour, drop back in here. Or, I mean, if you're game to just, you want to hang out in this room with us, we will be here making sure that everything continues to tick along smoothly. That's fine too. For those of you over on the West Coast, Ellen will be stepping onto center stage at 10 o'clock. For those of you in Mountain, it's 11. For in Central, it's noon. And for those of y'all like me here over on the Eastern Front or in the Midwest, it is 1 o'clock. So at that time, we will be coming back here. So again, we'll be here to lend a hand, but we'll also see you over on Discord. This is your sending forth, and we'll catch you in a little bit. So thank y'all and have a fantastic summit.